Here's some quick tips on using variables. So here we have a variable. We're setting it to 15, and I got that from the variable tab. We use the set global variable 1, and then use the drop-down list to point to the variable that we wanted, or we can create a new variable. So here I might create variable 6, and then set that to some other type of value. And I can do that again. I can right-click and duplicate a variable block, and again use a drop-down to create a new type of variable. Now let's say we want to get a variable. Sometimes we're setting the value and then getting it somewhere else on the same page. You can right-click on a variable, such as this one that's pointing to is topic 7 complete, and choose Create Get Variable. And that will create a getter version pointing to that same variable. So it's a little bit of a shortcut. You don't have to go under Variable, grab a get block, and then use a drop-down to point to it again. You can just right-click and say Create Get Variable. In order to delete variables, just use this same drop-down. Select the variable that you want. Let's say I want to get rid of variable 4. So we'll point to variable 4, and then in the drop-down, go to Delete Variable. It'll delete it, and any time that I've used variable 4 will become invalid, and they'll all sort of look like this wherever they're used in the lesson. So hopefully you've removed them already from the lesson before deleting it. So now when we go to the drop-down, we can see that variable 4 is gone. You can also organize your variable list by updating the names. So these are sorted alphabetically, so these are in order. If I were to create a variable 0, that would show up here at the top of this list. And if I wanted to move this one down, I could just give it a name that's alphabetically lower, and it would show up at the bottom of the list. You can also rename variables safely. So this variable 3 is being used here, and on a different page. And if I rename that to, say, score var, it gets updated here, and wherever else it's being used. So it's always the same variable regardless of what name it has. And if you want to track down those variables, you can right-click on this score var, or whatever variable you want, and say Find Action Blocks. And here you will get a list of all of the number of results on this particular page. So here there's 2 of them being used, and they're indicated on the action canvas with this yellow triangle. So it's being used here, and I can also see that it's being used 3 times on page 2 in a canvas called Variable Stuff Canvas. And if I click on that, it will take me directly to page 2 and switch over to that particular canvas, and then show me those particular variable blocks. And this will show up on the master as well.